Good morning, everybody. I am Marta Jimenez Lotter. I am the manager for candidate and student engagement at the Society of Actuaries. And today we have a very special panel with two actuaries from different, who practice in different areas and also in different countries. So I have the privilege and the pleasure to introduce David Guede and Kimaada Boyce. I am going to let them tell you a little bit about their background, who they are, what they do, how they became actuaries. And I would love to start with Kimaada. Kimaada, can you give us a little bit of your story?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Kimaada Boyce, as Martha said, and I'm based in Canada. So I started my actuarial journey around 11 years ago. I started at the University of Waterloo. So I came from Trinidad and Tobago, which is a Caribbean island, and I moved to Canada to attend the University of Waterloo, where I specialized in actuarial science and statistics. I was also part of the core program there, where I was able to, gain industry knowledge and that industry experience. And then after graduating University of Waterloo, I started my first full-time job at the Cooperators, which is a Canadian insurance company. They have both life insurance and PNC, but I'm on the life side. So I had about 2 to 3 roles over the span of the last 6 years at the Cooperators, and now I manage our individual life pricing team. I recently kind of rotated or transitioned into that role after attaining my fellowship last year. So that was a big moment for me last year, attaining my fellowship. And now I was able to kind of secure that manager role. Outside of that, I'm also very passionate about diversity and inclusion in the field. So I lead the Toronto affiliate of the International Association of Black Actuaries. And basically, our mission is to increase the number of successful Black actuaries in the profession. And outside of that, I love to travel. I consider myself a foodie. So I love, trying different cuisines. I love spending time with my dog, my family, friends, and just meeting new people and forming meaningful connections.
That's fantastic, and congratulations on your amazing
Thank you.
achievement. That is something to be very proud of. David, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thanks, Mara. Hi, everyone. My name is David Guede. I started my journey in Canada. I went to school there over a decade ago. So started in Toronto and then finished in Montreal. And that's pretty much during that time where I was trying to figure out what I was going to be doing with my math degree, and ended up stumbling on a life insurance course that taught me about the time value of money, and pretty much that's how my career started. So I ended up graduating from Montreal, from the University of Montreal in 2013. Then went on to start my first professional job as an underwriting analyst for a brokerage firm in Montreal. And then moved on to the actuarial field, or actual consulting, I would say, space, where I now started leveraging what I learned actually in school and apply it directly into the work that I was doing. So I focused primarily in employer group benefits at the time, spending half my time between group benefits renewals specifically and actuarial evaluations. So think post-retirement medical, post-employment benefits valuations. And then after that, transition into the US, where now I work for one of the big four firms, performing really audits, and specifically in the area, so still in the healthcare space, but specifically performing reserving, work, and also disability income, if you will, as well. Aside from that, as I stated earlier, I graduated with a bachelor's in mathematics from the University of Montreal. I also hold a Master of Science in Management from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I'm an ASA, so Associate of Society of Actuaries, and a Fellow of the Conference of Consulting Actuaries. I'm also the leader of the IABA chapter here in Chicago. I was previously co-leading that chapter in Toronto. So kind of been with the organization for a number of years. And really, as Kimaada said, to reiterate, the mission is really to increase awareness about the actual profession first, and really increasing the number of successful Black actuaries. From a hobby standpoint, Chicago is a beautiful city, especially in the summer. So I really enjoy, checking out the food scene and also, biking along the lake. And that's pretty much it. And, whatever comes out, like traveling as well, is one of them. But I'll just stop here and pass it back to Marla here. So.
Very, very cool. As many of you know, the Society of Actuaries is based in Chicago, so I'm also in Chicago, and I wholeheartedly agree with David that Chicago is a great city, especially in the summer, right? That's a little cold. So I wanted to say two things. Throughout the webinar, I am going to put, if we talk about a resource, I'm going to put a link in the chat so you can save that information and go and investigate those links at a later time when you have the time. So right now I have the website for IABA. If you want to explore any of the programs, any of the scholarships, they have a lot to offer. So please make note of it. And as I said, go whenever you have the time and the desire. And also throughout, if you want to add a question, there is a button at the bottom of your screen that says Q&A. It has a little square with an interrogation mark. Please enter your questions whenever you think of them. The questions are going to be answered in the order they're received. So don't wait till the end, because then we might run out of time. And then today we're doing something a little bit different, and Kimaada and David are going to ask each other questions instead of me. But as I said, any questions that you have as we are going along, please enter them in the Q&A. And I'm going to kick it off with Kimaada.
Yeah, thanks, Marta. So yeah, David, I've actually known David for many years now. As he mentioned, we started working together in the IABA Toronto chapter until he left for Chicago. So definitely one of my good friends. So my first question for you, David, you talked about, transitioning from working in Canada to working in the US. So what has been the most interesting part of transitioning from working with Canadian health insurance to working with US health insurance?
The one thing that really stands out is really the complexity of the US healthcare system. Really like navigating multiple payers, like the regulatory environment, compared to Canada that primarily has like a single payer, structure. So that kind of, attracted me to understand really like how healthcare is really administered here, from that standpoint. Also, the other thing that I find interesting is that there is an emphasis on actuarial modeling for pricing and risk management, due obviously to market, competition and also varying, plan designs really. So it's really a vast market. And also there's really a great number of opportunities to work on innovative products, like, for example, value-based care, or even like, Medicare Advantage, as a program as a whole. So those programs are really evolving, and, organizations are really seeking actuaries' help to understand how they actually can be efficient and, be providing great services to their members. So, Kimaada, what inspired you to become an actuary, especially in the life industry, right?
Great question. I love this question. So for me, in high school, I loved math, I love accounting, economics, all those things, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with that. And I think it was in my maybe last couple of years, so my second to last year, I think, a university rep from University of Waterloo came to my high school back home, and just kind of spoke about actuarial science. And then I immediately kind of knew that was a good fit because it encompassed everything that I loved, again, math, statistics, a bit of economics, accounting, stuff like that. So that, made me apply to University of Waterloo, where I specialize in actuarial science and statistics. And then I think what further solidified that, I think actuarial science or becoming an actuary was the career for me is my co-op experience. I was, fortunate enough to have around 5 kind of co-op experiences. So that definitely solidified that, I like the work that actuaries do, and that I think it was a profession for me. And then in terms of specifically why life, I think honestly, I was kind of thrown into it because my first co-op was in life or was a life role. So then after that, I just kind of kept on getting life roles. One good thing about co-op is that, you get the opportunity to try different kind of things, which I do wish I did, but I think in the end, I still would have ended up in life, just because, I just really have a passion for it and I really love what I do. So that's kind of my story of how I, got into the field and then how I chose life specifically. So then now I'll, throw a question to you. So what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
So being in the healthcare space, I would say it's really the fact that I can influence like healthcare affordability and access through data-driven decisions. So really working with organizations to understand how we can, like help them, solve business problems that ultimately have an impact on the members or, the employees they're actually, serving. Aside from that, it's also about mentoring and providing support to the next generation of actuaries, right? Especially to underrepresented communities. And as a matter of fact, volunteering for the IABA gives us that exposure to be able to talk directly to folks, in colleges or even high schools, where we can actually bring that awareness about the actual profession. And I would also say that it's the last thing I would actually add is the fact that we are continuously learning. Like it's constantly evolving, and through webinars, even the SO or other actual organizations, when they actually put those together, it's to bring awareness about what's happening in the market, and it helps us, be up to date on what's happening in the industry. So, and I will, ask you the same question here. So.
Oh, sorry, I was talking on mute. So I think for me, it's similar. So I think, my role as an actuary right now is pretty challenging, but it's also rewarding. I guess the parts that make it challenging is also what makes it rewarding. So in my role, I manage our individual life pricing team. So I have to consider and manage evolving customer needs, emerging risks, profitability, and also market competition, for example. So that can definitely be challenging to manage and balance all these different aspects of the job. But at the same time, it's very rewarding to see how my work directly impacts people's livelihood. A lot of people think, being an actuary is just about the numbers, but to me, it's not just about the numbers. It's really about, ensuring that people have that financial security when they need it the most. So I think for me, that's the most rewarding part, is that I get to just impact people's actual lives in a positive way, especially when they need it the most.
That is fantastic. And we have some questions here. Maya wants to know what if each one of you can describe a typical day or a week in your actuarial career.
I could take a stab at that first. So for
Okay.
me, my role or team is pretty project based. But I guess our general goal is to manage and maintain our products. So we work on different projects. So one project could be a reprice. So what that looks like is we would look at one of our products, say for example, our term product, and we might look at where we stand with our competitors, what our premium rates are, and then we will go through this reprice process to potentially like lower the rates to make our rates or product more competitive, while maintaining profitability. Also, another project that I might work on is product development. So again, there's always customer or evolving customer needs. So, clients or customers might want new products. They might want new products designed. So, my team will kind of be spearheading the design of the product, what product features we would kind of implement, and how profitable the product might be, and what pricing we might need to implement for the product to be both, again, profitable and competitive. So that's like a couple examples of projects that we work on. But yeah, for my team, it's very project based.
David, do you want to
Sure.
go now?
Sure. I would say for me, and I can probably use this current period as an example, like going through busy season, that's what we call it in consulting, at least for those that are doing financial reporting. It's really supporting organizations, making sure that the products that they have, like they know exactly what the risk exposure is and the obligations that they have to record on the financial books. And ultimately, it's really supporting those organizations so that they can file the financial results, at the end of the day. So my typical, I guess, cycle will be starting from like the fall, where we actually look at the different products that a specific organization is providing. And through that, looking at the actuarial side of things, think Medicare Advantage or even group LTD products or MedSup, like those type of products, to make sure that, looking at that, how they are priced, like what are the assumptions that are used, how they developed and stuff like that. So do a full assessment of those to make sure that when we get to the 12/31, results, we have a comprehensive understanding of how those different pieces fit together to estimate the financial obligation that they have, and also ultimately reporting that on the books there. So. Yeah.
Very cool. Our next question is, what is the future and emerging trends in the actuarial profession in both of your areas of practice? So maybe David, you want to start with this one, and then Kimaada, you can give your own spin up to it.
Sure. In healthcare, or maybe in the insurance industry, I would also extend that to it. I think it's really leveraging the use of generative AI through different or specific applications, in that industry, from a group insurance standpoint to, healthcare. So that's ultimately to like use Gen AI to, create efficiencies in the work that we do, and even solve like, some problems that, was probably daunting, at first for organizations, to simplify that, to streamline maybe the process. So I would say that's one big thing. And the other one I would have said is the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. It's been, I think, implemented this year. So for the past year or so, organizations have been trying to estimate what the impact would have been on, Medicare Part D, pricing, anything related to that. But yeah, so I'll stop there. But these are two ones that I can think about. And I would probably add to, with the current environment right now in the US, there are many changes that might be coming down the pipe. So as actuaries, we have to stay updated on, what's going to transpire there and see how it's going to impact at least, the health field, specifically for me. So.
I don't have too much to add on the life side. I think AI is a big part, as David said. I think, there's always been this talk of, is AI going to replace actuaries? I don't think that's a thing. I think it would make us or help us do our job way better, and help us focus our actual like expertise and talent on what matters, rather than just like cleaning data and stuff like that. So I think AI is definitely a big one that, I think the industry is focusing on, seeing how we can use AI to kind of help our processes, make them more efficient, cleaner. So again, we get that time to just focus on what our, expertise is. Because a lot of, what we do now, we do use a lot of actuarial judgment, and I don't think that's going to go away, and AI just can't do that. So I think AI is a big one in the life industry.
Yes, we have a lot of questions about AI. The next question is, I have a BS in MS in mathematics. I'm sorry, I have a BS and MS in mathematics, and I am transitioning from teaching to actuarial career. What are the best steps I should take to successfully break into the field, including exam strategy, gaining relevant experience, and developing technical skills? Whoever wants to answer that can do so.
I could jump in. So my advice would be, again, write exams. Exams are always important. I think when employers like are sifting through resumes and stuff like that, especially because we do get a lot of resumes, we definitely look at, exam progress. So I think definitely getting some exams under your belt. And I think also going to different networking opportunities, right? I think networking with, people in the industry, people in the field, I think that's very important because you just never know who you will meet at these types of events. So I think in my experience, I've seen that work for a lot of people. So that would be my, kind of two bits of advice. I don't know if David has anything to add to that.
Yeah, so a couple of things I would add. One, I would say leverage any actual communities. I know the SOA has one, targeting, students that are, up and coming actuaries there. If you are also, you can also leverage, affinity, organizations like IABA, or, OLA and SANA. Like the reason why I'm bringing those is basically to probably provide this like support system that you would need and have that one-on-one direct, conversations with people that are similar, that have a similar experience that you're going through as well. And lastly, I would say, as Kimaada alluded to, try to do, attend networking events. I would also say look at conferences. And if I take my story, that's one thing that actually, really helped me get into the field. It's basically being interested about, what's happening out there, what are the conferences that I can attend, and through that, meet other actuaries, professional actuaries, seasoned actuaries, to understand how you can actually navigate that. So I'll stop there, but I think that's, the couple of things that I wanted to add here on Kimaada's points. So.
Thank you for that, both of you. The next question we have is, what is something that helped you navigate university life in an easier way? Especially when you're taking the exams and you're doing all kinds of different things.
I would definitely say the friends that I've made during my university years. I think, and maybe if I take a step back on my journey as an actual student, I learned about the importance of taking the exams too late in my actual years, right? So in Quebec, it's actually a 3-year program. I was already in my second year, finishing my second year, and that's when I learned about, the importance of taking the actual exams. What I would say is basically to seek information as much as you can, because at the time it wasn't well advertised for me specifically. So I had to even sort out, like directions, like, like what organizations that are out there that provide, actual exams. How do you take them? Like what's the price and whatnot? And through, through that journey, I actually stumbled across the IABA and, later on, started volunteering there. So I would say, definitely seek those information out, talk to other students that are in the same situation as you. And I would also add, taking the exams or even becoming an actuary, it's something that you have to want. It is not, oh, I'm just going to do it just because like for me, personally setting the goal for myself was however many years it takes to get my credentials, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. So I think it comes down to that. You really have to want it because it's not an easy path, but it's definitely a great path to undertake and then get the rewards afterwards. So make sure that you really, keep that in mind as you, starting your journey as an actuarial or student or, continuing on that journey if you're already there. So.
We have 5 minutes, so I'm going to jump to the next question. Maybe Kimaada, you can answer that one. Thanks for the webinar. It is very inspiring. Thank you for being here. I wanted to ask both David and Kimaada, what challenges you experience in work and how do you handle them under pressure?
Yeah, so there's a lot of challenges as I alluded to earlier. There's a lot of things to balance. There's, regulatory compliance, for example. You have to make sure, for me, like our pricing models and our pricing processes and methodologies kind of align with the various regulatory kind of measures that are in place. Again, we have to balance profitability with competitiveness. So just make sure, obviously, that our products are profitable, but they're also competitive in the market that we would have sales. So there's a lot of things to juggle. And yes, sometimes that could be pretty stressful. But I think, one thing that helps me under pressure is being at a company that has a great culture. Honestly, like I think that's very, very important because when it's a company with a great culture, or you have like a good support system from your manager, your coworkers, your staff, I think they make it easier because you can rely on them. You feel like everybody's on the same team, that not everybody is just looking at you to deliver, like everybody is working together to deliver. So I think that's what helps me at least kind of deal with the pressure of all these various challenges and things that I have to balance.
I can probably add one thing. I would say
Okay, sure.
really ask questions. It's really important. There's no such thing as, not a great question. And also make sure that you are communicating, even over communicating. So asking those questions through that. And like if you're going through, like you have like two things that are due at the same time, how to prioritize which one comes first, talk to your managers to be able to figure that one out. So
Very good. The next question covers pretty much the same, so I'm going to jump ahead. How much of your role revolves around regulations and compliance as opposed to open-ended problem solving? David, do you want to answer this?
I think it's about the same. Like the work that we do, even when we're solving business problems, we're still relying on actual guidelines. Like what is the guideline saying? What are the regulations out there that can help us achieve that? So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Sometimes it may be heavy strategy on the business problem, but ultimately you'll have to leverage regulation. So I would say it goes hand in hand. So
okay, we have just a couple of minutes and 2 more questions. What is your hiring and internship process like? I'm a sophomore in college and I didn't pass my exams yet. So I was wondering how hard it is to get an internship right now and in general. Kimaada, maybe you can take that one.
Yeah, so I could speak on the Canadian market specifically, but it probably will translate. I think right now it is a pretty saturated market from what I've seen, because now when I have postings out, there's a lot of applicants. But I think you just have to create your resume in a way that you stand out, right? Even if you don't have exams, even if you don't have actual experience, like if you have experience in some other industry or career, definitely tailor that experience in a way where employers would see the value of adding you to their team. And I think another thing is if you get to that interview stage, let your personality show. Like be who you are, don't be who you think they want you to be. Because not only are companies looking for smart individuals, they're also looking for somebody who will fit well on the team. That's like a big part of it. So if they realize that, you're adaptable, you're trainable, you're easy to work with, easy to talk to, that would definitely give you a leg up. So I definitely think, come to the interviews being your entire self. And I think, that would definitely help help you to stand out. So you would get like a internship or co-op.
That's very good advice for life too. Be who you are. David, anything to add?
yeah, I would just quickly add, lean on organizations like the SOA or any other affinity groups or actual organization. Go through, networking events, conferences to make sure you get exposure to like people that are already in the field, to seek those internships experiences as well. So
Thank you both so much. We have run out of time. It's 12 o'clock. If anybody wants to send me their questions, and I can maybe have Kimaada and David answer them via email, I can do that. I am going to put my email in the chat. Hold on, my computer's going crazy. There we go. Again, I am Marta Jimenez Lauder, and I am the manager for candidate and student engagement at the SOA. Thank you, Kimaada and David, very much for being with us today. And thank you, everybody who joined us. We will see you soon in another Lunch and Learn. Thanks. Bye.
thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.